Hey, good afternoon or good evening to everybody out there. First of all, I just want to make sure, is everything sound okay in the picture? Comes through okay. Andrew says Friday night NBR. Woo. Okay. So many of you probably know that I've been struggling with tinnitus, a medical condition recently. And so it's kind of made it difficult for me to do a lot of my typical stuff. And I just wanted to hop on and give an update on that. And I wrote a few things down that I want to talk about with everybody. First of all, the reason why hopped on today, and by the way, just let me know if you're having any issues. Just put it in the chat. So for those of you who are watching this live, this is a great opportunity for you to actually communicate with me directly, which is always a great, awesome opportunity. So I'd like to get your feedback. For those of you who are watching this in a rerun, just you can watch. Usually takes a couple hours, but normally the chat is enabled so that you can follow along with the conversation. So I was on Reddit earlier today, and I was talking to somebody because they had posted about the episode yesterday that Radio Free Mormon posted on his channel about the lawsuit that Jenn has been, this whole lawsuit situation with Jenn Kamp. And I had mentioned something about, yeah, I was subpoenaed by Jenn, and I, of course, did something about it a couple months ago. Oh, Steve, we can't hear you. Hold on. Try refresh, KC. I can hear. Okay, so try refresh. It should be. You should be. Okay. KC, try it again, because you should be able to hear me. Can everybody hear me okay? Let me know what else. So I have this conversation on Reddit talking about the whole situation with Jenn Kamp. And okay, you can hear me. Great. Thank you. Okay, thanks for telling me. And I have to talk a little light because I do have the ringing in my ears, and it gets exacerbated. So, okay, all my bad, stupid Bluetooth. Okay. So we're good. We're set on the sound. So typically when we do these Friday night live, or whenever I do these live sessions, it's just kind of off the cuff and a few things I want to touch base with people on, kind of give everybody an update on everything. And so I'm talking to somebody on Reddit, and this self-professed fangirl from Australia said, "Oh, it was great talking to you, and I'm looking forward to talking about it." So I just wanted to say that, I think it's a very tragic situation that's happened with that whole thing. I was one of the very first people that Jenn Kamp ever interviewed when I did my Mormon stories a couple of years ago. And it was like one of the first interviews she ever did. I think I was the second one. I think Sandra Tanner was the night before or the day before, and there was me. And so she really just got started as an interviewer. And my personal interactions with her were always positive. So on a personal level, there's no issues. But I just think it's so sad to see everything that happened and the way it went down. So my mom, she makes a point of watching, kind of keeping me abreast on that whole lawsuit situation. And she kind of gave me her input about it yesterday. And I just wanted just to say that, I just feel bad that this has happened. I feel bad for my friend John Dehlin that this has happened to. Many of you don't like the fact that I'm friends with John Dehlin, but I've been friends with John Dehlin since almost the beginning of this channel. But it hasn't kept the fact that this channel is truly about the only neutral, safe space in this arena, and it continues to do so. So I just thought I thought, okay, so I was talking to these people on Reddit. I just kind of chimed in about they were talking about this episode that Radio Free Mormon had posted yesterday. So I thought I'd chime in a little bit. It was kind of surreal experience being subpoenaed by her via email. So it wasn't really a subpoena. And it was just kind of a whole odd, bizarro world situation dealing with that. And it can be kind of strange, because when you figure, like, a little over 3 years ago, I didn't know a single Latter-day Saint. I didn't know anybody in this space, and nobody had heard of me. And then, fast forward, and it's like you're part of the whole conversation and the story. And I'm just literally, I have to say about Reddit too. Since I've been incapacitated, I've been bedridden quite over the last few weeks. So I've spent a lot of time on my phone on Reddit. And man, I'll tell you, there's people that really don't like me. It's funny though, because one of the things I find is that people who don't like me often misspell my name. So I found a few by looking for a misspelling of my name. It's like, oh, there's some people that don't like me. But so I've been having fun on Reddit, hopping on there, talking with people and just kind of getting to. I don't really spend a whole lot of time on Reddit typically, so I mean, I don't spend a time on conversations, but I have to because of my situation. In order to keep my sanity, I need to talk to people, so I communicate with people on Reddit, and that's been quite an education. But I do feel like I get so misrepresented. People accusing me of a grifter. I'm trying to make money and all this kind of stuff, and I'm doing this as a labor of love. And people don't realize, like, 3 years ago, my goal was to have a little niche channel with 300 subscribers, and I just review books. I had no idea that it would become what it has become, and that's just crazy. So it's just kind of funny. But yeah, I don't spend a whole lot of time on the haters. It's just for somebody to take the time to get on their keyboard to attack me is just I can't imagine why. It doesn't make any sense to me. And this is the thing. The thing that really bothers me about it is the people that criticize me. I don't feel like they even watch the show, because the person they're representing is not me. They're some caricature or somebody that's in their own mind that they created about me. So it's just always surreal to read these criticisms of me. And I'm like, who are they talking about? Do they even know anything about me? It's just really crazy, just to think like that. So, but I just wanted to say that, in this space, in this Mormon podcast space in particular, it can be a real dog-eat-dog environment. Now, for the most part, I've been able to stay out of that, but I haven't been entirely. And there are people that do attack me, and there are people that do go after me. And it does hurt when that happens, because I really feel like most of the time, 99% of the time, it's a misunderstanding. And people, rather than take the time to reach out to me or message me, they'll just attack me, get behind their keyboard or turn on their camera to start attacking me. And it's just like, why? I don't get it. It's just so bizarre to me. So I just wanted to just say, first of all, to everybody on Reddit, I love you. And actually, I think it's a great space, and I spend a lot of time there, and it's a great place. And so overall, my experiences have been positive, even in the Reddit world. It's not all haters, just a handful of them. And of course, there's my haters on Facebook as well, but that's okay. No big deal. So I just wanted to preview this weekend. I'm planning on interviewing David Boice of 52 Churches in 52 Weeks. This will be his first interview that he'll be doing since he's converted to the church. Well, I take that back. Scripture Central did talk to him, but this will be, I think this is an important interview because it kind of comes full circle. My 1.5, 2 year journey with David Boice, his 8 or 9 year journey of looking for a church. He was raised Protestant. He was excommunicated from his church, and he went to over 100 churches. Many of them were evangelical Protestant churches. And he landed on the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints as his home church, as becoming the church that he was baptized into. And there's a lot of people that have a lot of questions. So I thought I would just maybe the questions people have been asking me. But also I think it's really important that David's story get out there too, because again, there was stuff on Reddit. Well, he was secretly a member all along, and this was inevitable. This is going to happen. I can tell you, I know David Boice, and there is not a he is such a, I would say, innocent person. And when I say that, I mean, he really does went into this with his eyes wide open and without any agenda other than just trying to find a church community to call his home. And he found it in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And I tell people, everybody's on their faith journeys. I'm not going to criticize you where you are, but I do think it should be an eye-opening thing for American Christians to recognize that he went to almost every aspect of Protestantism, evangelicalism. He went in all the different groups, and he chose the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And what does that say about us as evangelicals, as Protestants? That he chose them. This is not an us versus them thing. You all know that. I'm not about that way, but a lot of people make it that way. And rather than the people out there who are going to criticize David Boice for joining the church, I think they really need to do an inventory and self-reflection as to why would David do that? And maybe they could learn some lessons from that. There's a reason why people who, when they leave the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, they do not become evangelicals. They typically become atheists. You may want to ask yourself the question too, why is it that so many of them become atheists? because a lot of them are the only evangelicals they're being exposed to are by the same evangelicals who attack and hate me, and the same evangelicals who stand out in front during General Conference and criticize Latter-day Saints. That's their exposure. And they wonder why they can't get people to come into the evangelical church. I wonder why. And again, I'm not trying to attack anything or anybody. I appreciate, there are people that don't like me, and they're very, very vile, horrible, awful people. And then there's other people that disagree with me, but they also are decent human beings. And so I need to differentiate there, but there are bad actors in this camp, certainly. Okay, so that's that with David. And so, yeah, I'll be taping hopefully this tomorrow with David Boice. And then the Jenn Kamp, like I said, I just think this is what kind of instigated the whole thing, was just this whole lawsuit thing that's going on. It's kind of crazy. For those of you who don't know, Jenn is accused John of some stuff, and now there's a countersuit. And so this relates to the countersuit of John DeLynn suing Jenn Kamp. And I kind of got tied up into that whole mess when it all happened. And let's just keep everybody in your prayers, because there's no winners here. When things like this happen, there aren't any winners. It ends up being a bad situation for everybody, and I'm sad that it went to that place. Okay, let me read here. I've been to a lot of different churches. The LDS Church is hands down the best at welcoming in new investigators. Nothing compares to their outreach. Yeah, I think there's something to be said about that. Yeah. So, and that's from Andrew. Yeah. So I just wanted to hop on for a little bit and just tell everybody that I'm doing okay. It's been difficult for me to deal with this. I did go to an ear, nose, and throat specialist yesterday, and I felt a little more encouraged afterwards. One of the things I have to do is cut out caffeine, and that's hard because I'm a coffee drinker, as you all know probably. And it's really hard for me to get going without my caffeine, but I just got to learn how to function without it. There's a few lifestyle things I need to make adjustments in that will help with the tinnitus. It is a mental thing as well as it is a physical thing. And so I just got to learn to be able to not let it control me, or, I just got to learn to be able to function with it. So it's going to be a journey for me. This is not going to be easy for me to face what I'm facing here. But I feel, for the first time, I feel some encouraged. That's the reason why I had to cancel my trips out to Utah and Kansas City last month, was because I just couldn't travel. And so I have to limit my time. I just need to take care of myself and not overdo it. And I just got to take baby steps. And I just felt like even just hopping on today is an important thing for me to do, to stay connected to the community and let you know that I'm still here and I'm still doing my stuff, doing my research, reading. Going to line up some interviews. Christina Rossetti, I got to get you on and talk about your book. We're just going to, but I'm probably not going to be releasing as much stuff as frequently as I was doing 3 a week. I don't know if I can do 3 a week, but we'll be continuing. And I do have some interviews that I've previously taped that I'll be releasing in the next couple of weeks too. And then I got the Utah Interfaith Forum channel. And just so you know, David's also going to be interviewed on that with me and Monica. So make sure that you're subscribed to the Utah Interfaith Forum channel on YouTube, which I actually have, we've taped actually about at least a half dozen, if more, episodes for that channel. So we'll be starting that channel up very soon as well. Thank you. I pray for your brother. Thank you. And then wish you the best. Thank you very much for the positive words of encouragement in the chat box. By the way, for those of you who'd like to leave a financial contribution and get a shout out from me real quick, feel free to do that now. We do also have links in the description for those of you who'd like to financially to support the channel. And it does get to me because it's like, if you knew, I'm not getting rich off of this at all. And I could probably be making more money if I wanted to, but this is not about making money. This is about doing something that I love. And this is more than just an idea of just reviewing books. It's become much more than that. And I'm really privileged to be in this place. I really am. It means a lot to hear from people throughout the world almost every day and tell me how much that my story and my channel and what we're doing here at Mormon Book Reviews has been a really positive thing in their life. And I want to continue to be that voice. And I also want to continue to be that unique voice. I really feel like as we are in this election season, right in the middle of this election season, and our country, and this is to my American audience, but really throughout the world, it's a mess. And it's so bad. And I really feel sometimes that I see the tensions and the fighting that takes place even in our podcast world or even in the scholarly world. I just feel really bad that it's become that. It's really fascinating to be friends with conservative, true blue Mormons, and then being friends with Radio Free Mormon and Bill Reel and John DeLynn, and then being friends with people like Rob Meldrum and Jonathan Neville, and then people like a lot of professors at BYU and the Maxwell Institute and all these different places, and friends within the community of Christ and the Church of Jesus Christ, and be able to know that many of these, there's a lot of different, sometimes there's like factions that are going after each other all the time. And to be friends with both, where other people would say, I can't stand that person, or that person is this. And I'm like, you don't know that person. I had dinner with them, or I talked to them on the phone, and they're not the person that you make them out to be. And this goes on both sides. And I just really feel like I would just wish that people were able to have the kind of conversations that I'm able to have off the record with people, and realize that we're not that the person on the other side is not a monster. They often have a lot more in common with you than you could possibly imagine. And I think that we just need to talk to each other. And I think this channel is that place where we can have those conversations, and where we can have even people that disagree with each other on a topic. We can have them on my show and be a safe space. And so, yeah, we're gonna talk about a lot of different subjects. We're going to be talking about controversial stuff in this program as well, which we're going to do. And we're going to talk to people that maybe people will get upset that I'll have on my channel. I don't care. I don't care if you get upset. I'm not telling you how to book your channel. Please don't tell me how to book my channel, whether you have one or not. In other words, I'm really defensive when people try to tell me who try to do the gatekeepers who try to say, well, you can't have that person on, or you shouldn't platform this person. I'm like, you do you, I'll do me. I really feel that if we're writing Mormon history, early Mormon history in the 21st century, okay, there's going to be a chapter devoted to a lot of the conversations we're having with people, right? And some of those people are controversial people, right? Well, I'm going to interview those people, because guess what? 50 years from now, when they're writing the history of this period, that's going to be part of the conversation. Whether they've been platformed on my channel or not, they're going to be a part of the historical narrative. So I'd rather say, let's just talk to these people because they're part of the story. Jared, love you. Praying for you. Thank you for all you're doing, and tell your mom we love her too. Thanks, Jared. Diane Schaefer, thank you. Diane I was just talking to Diane about the Utah Interfaith Forum channel, about some of the interviews that we got coming up on there as well. And David Boice will also be interviewed by us on the Utah Interfaith channel. Monica and I will be interviewing him at some point as well. But tomorrow I'm going to be interviewing David for MBR, and we're going to get some more information about why he decided to become a Latter-day Saint. So Diane donated, I think I said this already, but Diane donated $1.99 into the super chat. So I want to give you a thumbs up. Thank you. Shout out for donating today. Really do appreciate it. And it's always wonderful to hear from people. This was kind of this morning I thought, okay, last minute, and just 2 hours ago, I scheduled this. I wasn't sure if I was going to do this tonight or not yet, but I'm glad I did. I'll hang on here for a couple more minutes, and I just want to ask, does anybody have any questions or maybe guest requests or suggestions? And also, I do think sometimes if I'm not fully capable of doing an interview, I would also ask do you guys have suggestions of guest hosts that I could have? I've reached out to one, but they're pretty busy. But I'd like if I'm not able to do an interview, but I'm able to book the guest, I'd like to be able to have somebody come on and do the interview on my behalf for my channel. That would be kind of a cool thing. So if anybody have any suggestions for that, leave those in the comments as well. Oh man, I'll tell you, it's been tough going through what I've been going through. And I want to thank everybody for all the kind words and the prayers and the positive thoughts. And many people have been giving recommendations for different lifestyle things or supplements. And I've actually taken some of that advice to heart. So we're going to try different things and we're going to beat this thing. I've been suffering for most of my life. If many of you know my story, which I told on Mormon Stories a couple years ago, you know that I've had a difficult journey and a tough life. And I've suffered most of my life. And so the reality is life is, a lot of it is suffering. And I think we need to acknowledge that. And I want to thank all the kind people who've reached out to me throughout the world to tell me how much they've been keeping me in their thoughts and prayers. Chris Van Kampen, curious what the restoration movement is up to. So Andrew, I've had Chris Van Kampen on. That was like a year and a half ago. I think so. Yeah, I had him on because he wrote a book about the restoration. And I've been in touch with Denver Snuffer. Actually, he was giving me updates about his speech that he gave in New York. So I've been texting Denver, but I haven't talked to him recently on the phone. But Denver's another interesting person. And Sean McCraney, I guess, next week is going to be starting back up Heart of the Matter. And I guess he's been buying billboards throughout Utah. I actually taped an interview with Sean, but we decided not to air it because both of us felt we were a little too, I don't know. We both felt like we were both a little too much on the attack, and we want to be more about reconciliation and stuff like that. And him and I kind of went off on some tangents, and so we both decided it wasn't best. And it was a great interview. It was a fun interview, but hopefully I'll have Sean come on to talk about his new thing as well. So either way, I want to thank everybody for, so Andrew, you saw the Chris Van Kampen interview. Maybe I'll get him back on again. And I do have other people who are friends with Denver Snuffer or people who are in his orbit that we'll be talking to about some projects they're working on as well. If all goes according to plan, this June, I should be giving a presentation at the Mormon History Association in just outside of, in Cleveland, Ohio, but actually it's actually more Kirtland. Some events will be taking place there. And last year they did it in Palmyra. So I've been invited to give a panel discussion in Kirtland or Cleveland in June. So I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully we'll be I'll be the umpire for the Sunstone Conference in July. And we got other things down there as well. Radio Free Mormon says, hang in there, amigo, my amigo. Yes, I was talking about you earlier, RFM, talking about your episode that you released. And that was kind of the impetus for me to post about my interesting interactions and history with Jenn Kamp. Just briefly touched on it. One day I'll do the more tell the full story, I think. But while everything's still in litigation, it's better just to not talk too much about it. Either way, well, I just want to thank everybody. Again, you're all wonderful people, and thank you so much. And just leave comments, by the way. So I did ask some questions. If you want to leave comments to answer them as well. For those of you who'd like to contribute to the channel, maybe don't want to get a shout out. You don't have to. You don't have to give it there. You can, or in the chat room, but also in the description, I have links to support us financially on Venmo and PayPal, as well as Patreon, and couldn't do it without you. And so again, I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful weekend. I really appreciate you. And remember, the most important thing is this: all the voices of the restoration will be heard here. on Mormon Book Reviews.